starting a franchise, you need a franchise quarterback. Quarterbacks win games. If it wasn't for Caleb Williams, this guy could be the #1 quarterback. This guy can play from the pocket, play with timing, anticipation, make accurate throws, and got one of the best deep balls in this draft.
JJ doesn't have to come in, no pressure, nothing on him. All he has to come in, learn the system, understand how to play quarterback, and in a year or two, be the guy in Minnesota.
What that organization needs, they need some Red Bull in there. They need just a fusion of a guy that gives you a chance to now compete for a Super Bowl. And Caleb Williams, so what we've seen in college, is that franchise-level quarterback.
We were certainly blessed with quarterback talent last year in college football, and now we're blessed with having Smoke Dixon here, national college football analyst, here on the show to talk more about those quarterbacks that were selected in the first round, a whopping 6 of them. So to remind you who those quarterbacks were, let's go ahead and show you. It went 1, 2, 3. First off the board was Caleb Williams, then you had Jaden Daniels, then Drake May, leaving holes in the Big Ten, SEC, and ACC. 2 more in the top 10, and Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy. And then the last quarterback taken in the first round, Bo Nix at number 12, just named the starter in Denver today. So a lot of depth there, but we here on a college football show want to talk about what's next with these teams that leave these gaping holes with their first round quarterbacks. And so we've had you rank the quarterbacks and the best situation, the ones that you feel the most okay about. We'll see. We'll say that. So let's start with the number 6 situation, and that is actually an ongoing quarterback battle at North Carolina between Max Johnson and Connor Harrell. Why did you put them at 6?
Well, before we even jump into this whole quarterback jumble of replacing first-round quarterbacks, we all know that's one of the hardest things to do, is replace the franchise guy that's done so good for your organization and your college for so many years. Replacing them is a tough job, but somebody has to do it. So let's start off with North Carolina, like you said. It's Max Johnson for me right now at number 6, but we also have Connor Harrell. Max Johnson comes in as a guy that's done it. Transferred from Texas A&M, comes in, son of Brad Johnson. He has a ton of experience, son of a quarterback, so he understands how to play the position. Connor Harrell now gives them a chance. With Chip Lindsey's offense, can kind of get out and do some dual threat things, but he also can play from the quarterback, from the pocket. And when you look at it like that, you have 2 guys. You're going to go into the week 1 with Max possibly starting, and that's what they're saying now. But I can see where Connor Harrell has a chance to come in and by game 6, 7, take that over by just playing well.
All right, the next quarterback situation that we want to highlight, again, this is ranked by which quarterback that you feel best about. So we're actually going to go to Michigan. You're thinking it's Alex Orji. Technically, he has not officially been named the starter, so that is another quarterback competition. But what do you think about him?
Well, my guy Sam came on and said it's going to be Orji. And just knowing that family and working with the 2 older brothers at Vanderbilt, and lightheartedly we recruited this guy, Alex. But at that time, he was more of an athlete than he is a passer. And what you've seen now when he's at Michigan, he's developed the skill set of learning how to play from the pocket. So this year, Michigan, all they want to do is run the ball anyway. So when you have Alex in there, you're going to have the ability to now develop him along the way of just playing slow. Hand the ball off, have some zone reads, have some quarterback runs, and if they have to throw the ball 5 times, I think he can actually do it.
All right, and one of the quarterbacks that I believe is in the most challenging situation has got to be the quarterback that's replacing the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, and that's at LSU with quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. What do you think about his potential?
What a tall task to replace 50 touchdowns and the starter now for the Washington Commanders. But when you look at Garrett Nussmeier, the thing that he does well is he gets the ball out of his hands. He knows how to play on time. Joe Sloan is now the offensive coordinator. He's going to allow him to have easy throws, easy access throws. Because when you have a quarterback that hasn't played that much, the number one thing you want to do is when you come out of any game, you want to say, how many chances did I give him to actually win the game for us and not lose the game for us? Because when you're asking a quarterback that hasn't had that much experience, first time out there, you put him in a stadium where they're expecting 35 to 50 touchdowns. And it's a tall task to ask a young man to come in and do that, but there are weapons around him. So at the end of the day, you say, okay, RPO, simple passes, screen passes. Let's extend these drives with short throws, and then we have the opportunity to take that big chunk throw, we'll give it to him. But that's far and few, and not allowing him to make those mistakes that will cripple a quarterback.
Definitely coming in with some expectations in terms of for that position, but he is a completely new quarterback with completely new expectations. So we'll see what happens there.
Ease him in.
Yes.
Don't rush him in.
Yeah. As we know, the SEC is, they always like to ease them in, right? It's just...
You like to
it
think
is a
so, but it
conference
don't.
of throwing you straight into the fire, especially at a place like LSU. There are expectations to have no drop-off from a guy that won a Heisman Trophy last year. So that is why you have LSU at number 4. So at number 3, we're talking about Washington, and that is Will Rogers. So we're starting to get into some of those transfer quarterbacks, and the stats been thrown about. 5 of the last 7 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks have been transfers, so we're not afraid of transfer situations, and he's done a lot in college football already.
Well, the thing that you love about Will is Will understands how to play the game from just a pure aspect of throwing the football and understanding vertical options, horizontal options, allowing himself to read high-low options on the first level, second level. Arm strength is not great enough to make those extended throws down the field, but you have an experienced guy. And when you have that, you have a stabilizer. When you have a stabilizer, now you have a true opportunity to go into games and win them by him not losing them. So Will's not the guy that's going to come in and give you 50 touchdowns just because of how he can create plays, but he can create plays by playing the game from the shoulder up. Number one thing that, talking to Sean Payton, Pep Hamilton, a lot of quarterback guys, the number one thing they'll tell you is we have to have the ability to get out of the huddle and execute a play first. Before we even get the ball in our hands, the quarterback has to process it, understand who he's supposed to go to, what checks he has to make. All that has to happen within that quick. Will Rogers gives you that opportunity to do that just because he's played so much and he's seen every single defense that you can throw at him. He's done it. You're not going to fool this guy. It's just now ability for him.
He's played at the highest level, too. He has records in the SEC. He holds the record for most completions in his 4 years at Mississippi State. So he has been there, done that.
He's done a few things.
Yeah.
But again, on the coach lease, they threw the ball almost every, or 80% throws.
Yep.
So and a lot of those throws weren't past 10 yards. So again, that's what you're going to have to battle. He can get the ball out of his hand, but sometimes it's the best thing. Get the ball out of your hands to the playmakers to make plays, because he's not a playmaker. He's just a deal maker.
All right. Elsewhere in the Big Ten, yes, if you have forgotten, we're here to remind you in week 0 that Oregon and Washington are both part of the Big Ten, so that's where we go next, is to Oregon and their quarterback situation. Dillon Gabriel, you talk about a guy that's played a lot of college football. This is his 3rd school that he's on after most recently transferring from Oklahoma. What do you think about his situation with the Ducks?
Situation is beautiful because you have a team that's ready to win now. So when you have a team that's ready to win now with talent like Tez Johnson, Evan Stewart, and you're in an ideal situation with 2 bookend tackles, you're not going to get touched. So the thing that you got to ask yourself is, okay, how can we get a quarterback after Bo Nick leave to come in and just replace the production, not the player, the production? And he can. He can get the ball to the playmakers. He's seen every single defense. Like we said, this is his 3rd school, 3rd stop. Everywhere he's been, they've thrown the ball a ton. So he understands passing concepts, how to get the ball out of his hands, and he does not need to be a superstar. He just needs to be one of the stars that shines bright. And I think he gives you that opportunity just because of his ability to play from the shoulders up, and he has some talent when that pocket breaks down, he can create on his own.
Do have to follow up with this because he is a Heisman Trophy favorite in a lot of sports books right now, yet you have him 2nd on this list of quarterbacks who are replacing QBs that were taken in the 1st round. Why is he not number 1 for you?
Well, you also have to put in talent. And the next guy that I'm going to say, and we're not going to say his name yet, he's more talented than Gabriel. If Gabriel did not have all the pieces around him, we wouldn't be talking about him winning the Heisman Trophy. Because him going out there alone, yeah, he's not going to do it. He left the last place that he was at, and I don't think anyone was screaming for him to come back. And that's no shot on him. That's just understanding the place that he's at right now and the team that he's with. He's with the ideal team for his situation to help himself out, to pursue his opportunity to play in the NFL. By no means am I knocking his ability to play. It's just the guy that's in front of him is a better player. And at the end of the day, we're going to go ahead and give us number 1.
Yeah, that guy is USC's Miller Moss. So for those keeping track at home, he is your number 1 quarterback on this list of QBs replacing 1st-round picks. He was just named the starter officially yesterday, Smoke. So the fact that it took all the way up until training camp, I don't know if that's a Lincoln Riley thing or what, but what do you think about his situation at USC?
Well, Lincoln Riley is a guy that also had Caleb Williams on his team when he was at Oklahoma, and he didn't start him at the end of the day. So we understand that the suspense is part of it.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about actual ability, yeah, head and shoulders above the rest of these guys on this list. If you had an average team around Miller Moss, he can make that average team good just because he can play from the pocket, extend plays when he needs to, can make throws at the first level, meaning outs right now, far side field, zip it in there because he has an arm strength. He has the ability to throw with touch to drop it over to second level defenders and drop it right in there. And when it's time to go downfield, yeah, the arm strength is there to make the plays. So he has talent, and he does have Lincoln Riley as his quarterback, coach, and his head coach. And I want to say that Lincoln's produced Caleb Williams and a few more guys that we're not going to run off. So Miller Moss is my guy. You saw him come out in the bowl game, lit it up, had great success. It's just the opportunity that he needs, and he has it right now. And I think, for me, he's number one. No knock on nobody else, but I would go to bat with this guy and win the game with him. With nothing else around me, I'm taking him.
Nobody else on that list is the reigning Holiday Bowl MVP. Obviously saying the least important part first, also scored 6 touchdowns in that game, which broke a record for a bowl game. So
6 touchdowns is not easy to do. I'm talking
No.
about if no one's playing in that game, you still have to throw 6.
Yeah.
Tough. And he's real good.